for the masses. Today's Tuesday, April 12th. 102 days into the new year, 262 days left. Lots of twos. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown California. Somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. I'm in a good mood. I'd like to thank everybody listening. I'd like to welcome everybody around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. It's Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your so humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Yeah. Tonight, very special guest, Dr. Stephen Greer is back with us. Tomorrow, it's Oli Damagard, live from Spain. Tomorrow night's show is going to be false flags, assassinations, the connections around the world. He's written a lot of books on the subject, too, as well. Tonight, Disclosure, Part 2. Where are we? We'll be discussing all of that with Stephen Greer, free energy, and lots of other subjects. I think he's got a new movie he's working on, too. We'll be talking about that tonight. We'll also take your calls, 323-825-5045. And then, of course, Thursday night is Fader Night. And we will have John Rappaport here with another edition of No More Fake Newsroom. Follow us on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Come and hang out, interactive, in the sandbox. Follow us at JChurchRadio. Very simple. And the sandbox is hashtag F2B. All right? We don't bite in the sandbox. It's such a great community. And I think everybody that discovers it, they just can't believe that something like this goes on with a radio show. You know, they're like, wow, this is like for real. Everybody here is cool, and it's great, you know. And one of the things that I love to do and to instruct people around here to do, if any yahoos not only appear in the sandbox, but anywhere, any of the chat rooms, on YouTube, Facebook, any of the social media at all, they just get drop kicked, you know, just out. They're out of the car forever. Our community is a cool one. And to be honest with you, and I'll be straight, I don't want yahoos to listen to this show. They're not good enough, right? I just don't want it. I want everybody to just be cool. And that's the point of this show. So, and when people get angry, like someone did today, hey, man, you know, get this email because somebody got drop kicked, blocked, you know, ignored, and the things that we can do on different platforms. And the same person I posted in two different, it doesn't matter. So anyway, blocked, done. Get an email. Man, it's about free speech, man. You know, you're clamping me down. I said, dude, you're absolutely right. Right? I wrote him back. You're absolutely right. You can post anything you want. You can say anything. I don't care. On your page. That's freedom of speech. On your page. On your website. On your radio show, on whatever it is out there that you want to do, go and do it. I'm not holding you back. Go do it. You're not going to do it in my world because this is mine. It's that simple. I'm not blocking freedom of speech. I'm blocking you from my world. Everybody around here is cool, and you're not going to come here and pollute this pool, pee in this pool. It ain't going to happen. You want to pee in your cornflakes? Go do it. Go do it on your own page. And that's it. I'm sorry. It's no, I'm not. I'm not even sorry. Anyway, come hang out with us. It's a great show. It's a wonderful community that we have built, and the Fadernauts are awesome. Come hang out, not only in the Spreaker chat room, but the KGRA chat room, and of course Twitter. Everybody is cool, and you can just hang out all night long. Over on each one, especially like Spreaker averages about 1,000 comments a night in that room. Twitter, we do about 2,000, 3,000 over here, and just come and be a part of it. It's really an amazing thing to just see, do, hang out, and to hear everybody's comments in real time as the show moves forward, because it causes interaction, it causes thought, it causes people to not only make comments, but give their interpretation of certain things. And then those little sub-conversations kick off, and you can become part of all of that. And the other thing that's really great about it is there's so many smart people that are listening to this show. I'll get corrected, which is awesome when that happens. Or somebody will pull up a fact that I may not know, or the guest in the middle of the show, boom, it gets posted. Photos get posted. Images get posted. And it all happens. So it becomes this interactive experience. Come on over. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And then if you want to choose, you want to go to Spreaker or KGRA, whatever your choice is, there's chat rooms there too as well. Everything is monitored. There's no Yahoos. Love saying Yahoo. I love calling people Yahoos when they Yahoo out. I think we just found a new word of the month. You can email throughout the show, as you can on every show tonight, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. All right, very simple, easy. There you go. Any questions or comments during the show, just use hashtag F2BQ. Okay? All right. Let's see. 33 seconds ago, George says, what does the doctor think of the Keisha Foundation? Ask me. Why don't you ask me that, George? I want to answer that question. I want to answer it. Retweet and ask me. Because right now you want me to ask Greer. You want me to answer that? I want to answer that. All right. Thank you to everybody that is subscribed to the podcast. Our numbers are really cool there. So thank you. And we've kind of changed things around a little bit, as you guys have probably noticed. YouTube is updated now daily, so it's no longer going to be 2 weeks in the past. That is updated daily, just like the podcast is. Okay, so we're staying on top of everything. And there you go. All right. A little bit later on in the night tonight, Ronnie McMullen of Life Change Tea is going to jump in the show. So hang around for that. That's going to be great. And it is cold and flu season right now. And Ronnie's going to be on with us a little bit later. I don't know if he's got a new special. He's probably listening to the show right now. He's going, I got to get something together for the Fadernauts tonight because I'm going to be on the show. But his current special is 2 months of the Super Strength Tea, and you get a bottle of the Moringa for just $5 and free shipping on your order when you mention my name, Jimmy. Very simple. You can do that online or over the phone. All right. And let's see. The Studio Dome package is still running. That's brand new technology, and I think that Fadernaut special is going to run for a while. You can go and do it right now. 2 SBB2 speakers, true wireless stereo technology in a hard shell case, $129. Best deal anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world. That is the deal. Go and do it. And now, Dr. Stephen Greer is going to be with us tonight. He will be speaking. He's one of the featured speakers at the New Living Expo, April 29th through May 1st, 2 short weeks. We are all going to be there April 29th through May 1st. And, you know, if you're going to be in the area up there, you want to go, I'll give away some passes for that tonight, too, as well. Stephen Greer, Nassim Haramein, Greg Braden, Scott Wolter, Mike Barra, Laura Eisenhower. I'm just trying to think. Tricia McCannon, Daniel Brinkley. And I am going to be the dude on the mic. I'm going to be the MC, the Master of Ceremonies for those 3 days. So come and hang out. It's going to be awesome. All right. Let's get this show cracking. Today, David Letterman is 69. Kind of miss him already. 69 years old, Letterman. One of the best. That's it. Claire Danes is 37. I didn't think she was that young. You know her from Homeland, one of our favorite shows. And also today, yes, I'm going to do it. David Cassidy. I said it. Is this thing on? Is it working? David Cassidy is 66. Had to do it. And I was so tempted to post happy birthday on Facebook with one of his, what was that magazine he was always in? Tiger Beat? What was it? Teen Beat? I was, but I didn't. I backed off. Our dead guy's birthday today is Tiny Tim. 1932 to 1996, died at the age of 64. He was born Herbert Cowrie. He was a ukulele-playing falsetto singer. Great dude. Funny. Best known for his ripping rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips. But check this out. On September 28th, 1996, he suffered a heart attack while he began singing at a ukulele festival in Massachusetts. He was told by his doctors after the heart attack not to perform again. His health was bad. And I remember what he looked like, too, in 1996. And they said, don't do it. Do not do it. Well, he ignored the advice. And a month later, on November 30th, he had a second heart attack on stage and died. Tiny Tim. Happy birthday, man. All right. Our guest tonight is Stephen Greer. Tomorrow night, Ole Damagard. Call-in number 323-825-5045. Don't forget Thursday night's Fader Night. Open lines all night long. And John Rappaport with a new, fresh edition of No More Fake Newsroom. On this day in history, two things happened today. One, April 12th, 1961. Aboard the spacecraft Vostok 1, Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin becomes the first human being to travel and survive space. Because the hidden truth is that the Soviets launched two other missions prior to Yuri, and those cosmonauts did not survive. I'm just saying. And the other thing that happened today, it happened earlier today. We crossed 10,000 likes on our Facebook page. April 12th. Yeah, write that one down, right? Fader fact. The inventor of the intermittent windshield wipers, his name was Robert Kearns, tried to sell his idea to the auto industry, and everybody told him no. He was turned away. Doors were closed. But then, in 1969, they started showing up on cars, on every car. So he sued. And he won. That's right. Robert Kearns. And that is a Fader fact. All right. Let's get this show cracking. Today, well, okay, look. Listen to me, everybody. And listen good. Why all of the fake UFO videos on the net? Today, I think I clicked on my last one, hoping it was going to be different, right? Okay, yeah, I took the bait. I did. Saw it. It was on a news website, too, of all things. And I did. And I just sat back and started to think, and I read part of the article. Not going to say who, what, when, where. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. But there's only one real answer here. Money. That's why it's done. Make no mistake about it. When you go to YouTube and you look at the UFO videos that are there, and trust me, there are millions, and each one of those has millions of views. Some have 500,000, right? But every one of them is monetized with millions of views. It's money. Remember the alien autopsy video? Of course we do. Ray Santilli did it for money. Ray Santilli had never even heard of a UFO or Roswell. And after he made the video, he moved on to as well. Well, he did a couple of other things to capitalize on more money off of that alien autopsy video, but he doesn't care about the UFO community or research or anything like that. That entire thing was done for money. Your money. And without shame, without guilt, without remorse. Took the money, bought a house in Monaco and a yacht and a fleet of Ferraris and laughed. Think about that. Now, they don't do it because they, and when I say they, you know who I'm talking about. And they don't do it because they care about research. They don't do it because they care about you or disclosure. They care about your money. Right now, there is a handful of news sites out there that promote every single new UFO video. Oh, yeah. They do some real news, right? They mix it in. And the connection between these CGI artists and the internet media is now established. They understand each other. They get it. They feed off each other. They need each other. So today, click on this video. Go to this website. And this is what the article said. And by the way, this same article, so I went and did some investigation. It's all over the web. And it's the same verbiage. It's a cut and paste job. So I can read this and you don't know where it came from because it's on every website. But this is it says, a bizarre UFO sighting claim is making the rounds in the online UFO community. According to UFO conspiracy theorists, a 10-mile-long alien spaceship has been spotted in a crater on the lunar surface close to a 120-mile-long alien highway. Wow, that'll make you click on it, right? The humongous craft and highway were reportedly spotted in a 1967 Lunar Orbiter 3 photo of the lunar surface. Although the discovery first became widely known in the UFO community when it was announced back in October 2014 by several UFO hunters. Now, I use that term loosely, including blank, blank, and blank, and blank. Blank believes the original discovery dates back to 2001 and 2002. But blank reports that the 10-mile-long alien spacecraft parked in a lunar crater was first discovered in October 2007 and sparked a debate in several online forums at that time. Shameful. First off, calling themselves, and the article too as well, UFO hunters. No, they're not. They're CGI artists that are creating stuff for clicks. They don't care about the UFO community. They just know that we like to look at those videos. We want to see something authentic, so we'll go and do it. And the amount of clicks out there, which are in the millions every single day, will cause any criminal to go and do this stuff. Because that's what they are. They're stealing. And they're playing with people's hearts and emotions. So now we have this little cottage industry. It's nuts. And that's exactly what it is. It's crazy. People right now are sitting in their parents' basement, right now, as I speak, grabbing stock footage off of the net, stock footage of space, of something orbiting Earth, or stock footage of clouds, or they run outside with their cell phone and shoot the sky so they have a background, or somebody shooting a video out of a airplane window, and then they go back and they get going, adding whatever to the clip. And that's what it is, too. It's whatever. And they're getting really good at it, too. Some of it is good. Most of it bad. But it doesn't matter. We're going to click anyway. Then they upload it to YouTube. And then they send out a story with the video clip out to their media buddies. And then everybody runs with it. Nobody cares. They just want the money. In this video clip of this 10-mile spaceship, 10-mile-long spaceship in this crater, it's a pile of dirt. That's what it is. It's not a spaceship. You know, the 120-mile alien highway looks cool. It could be a 120-mile alien highway. Don't know what caused it, but it's there. But I can assure you that what's in the background is not a 10-mile-long alien spacecraft in a crater. It's not. It's dirt. But they don't care. They slap the headline on it, and they get your clicks. It's so frustrating with me. And it's always the same 5 or 6 players. I mean, now it's thousands of people creating these CGI, MP4s. But, it's always the same players. And when you see the same players' names on these different websites, news sites, and they have their own YouTube channels, they have their own websites, they get their own clicks there. I'm talking about bona fide news websites. And you see the same names there, and it's crazy. They are encouraging these guys, and any one of them, anyone can come on this show. I invite you to, because I will slap you around like you deserve. There's no way anybody's going to come on this show and tell me that they stand behind what they're putting out. Recently, we posted a video on our Facebook page. I think it was yesterday. And I allowed it because the video seems legit. In that, the object in the video could be anything. And you can go to our Facebook page. You can go look at it. Doesn't matter. I'm not making any money on it. Go click, right? Doesn't matter. And I'm not going to pull it down. Because the object in the video could be anything. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay. Wow, that could be anything. And what I mean by that is, it could be something atmospheric. It could be a lens flare. It may even be a real object. But what I think is that the video itself is legit. I don't think it's been manipulated and it's CGI. But that's just me. The CGI stuff is the CGI stuff. Robot walking in the clouds from 30,000 feet. You know what, dude? Save that, okay? Save it. But this video of the ISS, it looks strange, so we posted it. But this is the crazy thing. That video got 30,000 views off of our Facebook page in an hour. An hour. And we're just a little thing out there in the internet world. It's crazy. People want to click on that stuff. Now, The reason why that video took off on ours is because, you know what? It's ISS. It's a NASA live feed. It's purported to be real. It looks real to me. It's not some crazy spaceship, okay? It's not something. No, it's not. It's some kind of anomaly that shows up on the horizon, and it could be from anything. It could be something entering the atmosphere, and that was discharged. It could be anything, but I think the video is real. But it's interesting, and we want to see stuff like that. And it went a little, for us, it went viral. 30,000 in an hour, and the video is embedded. How many people copied it and shared it? I think that's our actual views on, because the video is also in another spot on our site, and that shows like 3,000 views just clicking on the video. Our post is up to like 35,000, but it hit 30,000 in an hour. And that's insane to me. And people now are picking up on it. So I went back and I thought, there's a reason why that video, which is a NASA feed, is not posted on our YouTube channel where we would get 1 million views, right? We're not going to do it. But nobody else has issues with doing that. And it bothers me. And just think about that next time. Nobody is out there trying to research. Nobody out there cares about UFOs. Nobody out there cares about what other people have to say and other researchers. They're not reading books. They have no idea what Project Blue Book is. They don't know. They don't know the origins of the word swamp gas. They don't know what Roswell is. They don't know what Maury Island is. They don't know anything. What they do know is how to run some video software and get something in. And they can do it on their iPhones now. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to get out of here. When I come back, Stephen Greer, Ronnie McMullen will be with us a little bit later. Dr. Stephen Greer joins the show. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National tax experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stephen M. Greer, MD, is founder of the Disclosure Project, the Center of Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, CSETI, the Orion Project, and Sirius Technology Advanced Research, LLC. His presentation at the National Press Club and that disclosure event in May 2001 helped spark the disclosure movement, and that webcast had 250,000 people online, the largest webcast in the history of the National Press Club at that time. He has worked for the last 20 years bringing together scientists, inventors, and leaders in society to advance new clean technology energy systems. He is considered one of the world's foremost authorities on the strategic process of transforming our carbon-based civilization to a long-term, sustainable civilization using innovative sciences and technology. He is a lifetime member of the Alpha Omega Alpha, the nation's most prestigious medical honor society, and he is the author of 4 books, multiple DVDs on the UFO ET subject, including one of my favorite documentaries, Sirius, and has appeared on CBS, BBC, Discovery Channel, History Channel, of course, Ancient Aliens, and the movie Thrive. His website is SiriusDisclosure.com, and I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Dr. Stephen Greer. Stephen, are you with me, sir?
I am. Thank you very much.
It's good to have you back with us. It's been about a year, Dr. Greer. It's kind of hard to believe that a year has gone by since you've been with us. And so I got to go with the obvious. What have you been up to?
Well, that's a lot to cover, but there's some really big events that are happening that have to do with the next big thing in disclosure and also bringing out these technologies. In fact, it'll be the biggest events and project that I've ever been involved with, and it is being launched as we speak.
You know what's funny is, as leading up to the show, and I was watching, the fans out there comment, and there were, Dr. Greer's got something big, and he's going to do it on Fade to Black. He's got something big. It's coming. And I was like, okay, let's see. And I thought that it might have. Well, we can talk about that too as well. But is there a follow-up in the works for Sirius?
Yes, there is, and that's one component of what is going to be happening. It's a multifaceted strategy that has been in development for the last year or so. And, many of your fans may know the work of the New York Times bestselling author Steve Alton, who wrote the novel Meg, and also Phobos, as well as Vostok. And he has been including much of my research into his novels for years. He is going to also collaborate with me on a new book that we anticipate will be a New York Times bestseller. that will have all the new information, the top secret military and intelligence witnesses, as well as deep research on the classified, so-called unacknowledged special access projects, USAPs, that are being run illegally that deal with the UFO and free energy subject and ETs. And that book will be the definitive story on the subject that has ever been printed. And he will be collaborating with me on that. At the same time, beginning in the next 7 days, we will launch a crowdfunding effort, because we already have in production a full-length feature film documentary that will focus, unlike Sirius, that dealt with a number of issues, it's going to be focusing purely on these unacknowledged special access project, and it is titled Unacknowledged, after the name Unacknowledged Special Access Project, which is the proper name used in military circles for deep black, illegal projects. And Unacknowledged is going to be the greatest expose on this subject ever done. And even in the last week or two, there have been 5 new CIA, Air Force Office of Special Investigations, and other military whistleblowers, witnesses, who have come forward just by me mentioning this through our network quietly over the last 30 days. So that will also then be accompanied by something we are planning, but we're investigating where we can do it, which would be a global concert event live for an entire day that will have some of the most renowned performers, musicians, actors present, and will be live streamed around the world. That will not only complement this expose, but it is our intention that during that event we will have an operational prototype for a free energy, quote-unquote, over Unity system. Now, that's in planning. We're closing in on a number of these. We hope it can happen. Now, this is all anticipated to be the crowdfunding campaign. Remember, Sirius was the most successful crowdfunded documentary in history.
That's right.
And it went to number 1 on Netflix in the past year and has been seen by millions of people around the world. This, we anticipate, will be 100 times bigger. And although we're not wanting to do this with any studios, because ultimately they ruin everything. So we have a very large digital distribution group that is going to move this out globally. But we need partners in this. And what I'm seeing on your show tonight, this is the first time I've talked in a public interview about these plans. And we will launch the public campaign that ends secrecy. I want to be clear about what we're doing. We are not doing a campaign to ask the government to end it. We are doing a campaign that will end it. And it will be a call for mass defections, like it's begun to happen in the last week or two, from the intelligence community, the corporate government contractors, and the military-related projects that deal with UFOs, and to have all of those come forward in a massive effort. But that would be much larger than the 2001 National Press Club event, which, by the way, was eventually seen by around 800 million people around the world. This is what we're planning to do. The concert event, this is something we're still doing an exploratory on, but anyone who has contacts to these sort of performers, and there are a lot of artists that are very interested in the subject, and we're reaching out to them. The good news is that we have a commitment from a organizer of these types of events who has done events like this for raising awareness and for raising funds for good causes, where he has had 200,000 and 300,000 people participate live on site and then, of course, millions more online. So this is what we're in the process of putting together. And so I'm very happy to be able to announce this on your show. If people go to our website, SiriusDisclosure.com, SIRIUS Disclosure.com, they can sign up for free for our list and notices. And also, if you would like, once we announce this, you can put a link from your site to what we're doing. And it's going to be, 20-hour days for 6 or 8 months to get this done. We're hoping that we can launch this sometime in between the fall of this year and the winter of 2017. So this is something we're actually already in the project. We already have the beginnings of the team assembled, and we are assimilating more. And we have people scouring government corridors around the world for the evidence and the images and the whistleblowers that we want to appear in this event. And so the documentary will only be sort of the tip of the iceberg, and in the process of the entire campaign being loaded up all over the world and being shown all over the world will be this vast archive that we are putting together. And our intention is to do this in such a manner and with enough public support that we really don't need the mainstream media. We will absolutely overwhelm them. And also that it will not be something where we're asking for the government to do anything, since the government never does anything on this issue. I mean, I've been briefing government people for 20 years.
Right.
This is going to be where the people, which are really the government, allegedly, are the ones doing it, organizing it, and supporting it. So in other words, I think everyone listening needs to view this where, and you always people say, well, when is the government going to do X, Y, and Z? I said, well, when do they ever do anything?
Right.
And it doesn't matter who the politician is or the political party. On these issues, they almost never do anything. So what we're saying is that we're not going to be doing this to get them to do anything. This will be the end of the secrecy, the bringing out of the sciences and technologies, and the beginning of a whole new chapter in our history. Very large undertaking. I think we can do it. The elements that have come together in the last year are frankly amazing. And the people who are on board this team now to support it certainly have the capacity to do it. And we're really going to be turning to the public, not only for the funding support like we did with Sirius, but equally importantly, the network support. Because a lot of people don't understand. I had a man say to me, who I was meeting with over the last couple of days here in Washington, that he was put on to me by some folks who have been in government, and their first comment was, well, we really don't know why Dr. Greer isn't dead yet. I mean, it was a very scary, and I've had this said to me hundreds of times.
Well, I was gonna ask you the same thing a few minutes ago. Hey, Dr. Greer, can I ask you really quick? Are you on a speaker?
Yes.
Are you on a speakerphone?
No.
You're on a handset?
I'm on a regular phone.
Okay, it's a little muddy, but it's fine.
Okay.
I was just watching the comments coming in from Twitter and that it's just a little muddy. We'll dial it in on this end. But what do you think? What do you think about this other stuff that's been going on the political side coming out of D.C. With Hillary speaking and Podesta and Obama and everybody taking advantage of Jimmy Kimmel, right, to speak this message?
Right.
What is going on with it?
It's a great question, and frankly, I know what's behind it. Look, first of all, let's back this up. I began briefing people like the CIA director and the Clinton folks in 1993. So by 2002, the year after we did the Disclosure Project, John Podesta, who had been chief of staff before President Clinton, and then was the senior advisor to President Obama, who put together his entire cabinet, and now is the chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign committee, was openly talking about disclosure. And in fact, when he left the Obama White House, he tweeted that it is his greatest disappointment was not being able to effect disclosure on the UFO issue while he was in government.
Right.
So we know, now this is no mystery, because one of a man who works with Mr. Podesta, I provided a very large briefing for Obama back shortly after he took office, the president took office. The Clintons, and first with their CIA director and people close to them that I met with back in 93, 94, 95, and many people know that one of the friendly people inside the Rockefeller clan was Lawrence Rockefeller, and it has been, quite frankly, improperly called the Rockefeller Initiative. It was not. It was called Project Starlight. Google it. The Associated Press did a lawsuit, and the Clinton Library opened up their files, and you will see Project Starlight. And that was an operation I founded back in the 1990s to provide this information to various people in the government at that time in the hopes that they would do the disclosure so we wouldn't have to. In other words, they would do their constitutional duty. They did not. And I was the architect of that Rockefeller collaboration. But Lawrence Rockefeller did not initiate that. That's something that we did. And with a number of other military and astronauts, KGB people, and cosmonauts and what have you, back in the early and mid-1990s. So this is something that's been percolating in those circles for over 20 years now. We're talking 23 years. So it's now clear, they know that the game is up. And what we're moving into now, and they certainly are aware of what we're doing, is going to either the government is going to be rendered irrelevant, or they're going to be meaningful again. And so I think that what you see with these sort of comments happening and sort of what they call in Washington a trial balloon going up is to see how that plays and what the reaction is both within covert circles and within the public. And that is normally done in advance of a very major initiative. But I would tell people the major initiative is what we, the people, are doing. And it needs to stay that way because, you know, the only way these things happen is if the people lead, the leaders will follow. And this is, we have this all upside down, and people have this authoritarian view of the world, when in reality, the people really have the power if they'll use it. And that if is an enormous if. In the absence of the people doing it, then you either have passivity, nothing gets done, or you have this kind of corruption within the covert programs that steps into that vacuum. And I've always said power abhors a vacuum. If there's a vacuum, if there's a space there, these sort of folks are going to step into it. So it's really our responsibility, those of us who are citizens of not just America, but of the earth, to fix this huge problem and to get it rectified and not be, in a sense, codependent on these political folks. Now, with that said, we certainly welcome the political establishment to the extent that they would do anything beneficial to get involved. But their getting involved is really a reaction to what is happening with the body politic and also with these sort of initiatives, as opposed to them sort of taking a leadership role on it. And so there's an interplay here, and it's sort of a self-reinforcing system if we continue that process. But it's our intention not to be at all dependent on the government doing anything. It's our intention to do this in such a way that it is a dispositive event that reaches the largest number of people on Earth ever and clearly puts this issue in front of the world in a way that proves it and also explains what's behind the secrecy. And see, this is the hardest part. Everyone acts like, well, you know, there might be a secret and, you know, there could be UFOs, but if it were, why would anyone keep it secret? Well, the why is really the big issue. And the why has to do with, let's forget the word UFO. That's just an acronym for a alternative energy and propulsion system that's pulling energy out of the zero-point energy field, has a gravity control component. And, those things aren't running around using diesel fuel, et cetera. So that's really the issue, is that that's not the sole reason for the secrecy, but believe me, when you're talking about bringing out technology that would completely replace the oil, gas, nuclear, solar, wind, all of it, and also the public utilities. Because let's look at how these technologies work. If you had a 35 kilowatt system that would run all the power needs of your house or your car, say a Tesla without the battery pack, then you do not need public utilities and transmission lines. So this is an enormous transformation of the planet that needed to happen beginning almost 100 years ago, should have been completed by the 1950s. And so we're at least 60 to 100 years in what I call the lost century, which is going to be a part of this movie and the book. It's the lost century of development and human development, conscious development, and environmental preservation, because we've stayed on the destructive fossil fuel, coal, and nuclear systems for way too long. So that's something that people have to understand, that if it was only a matter of there being intelligent life out there, that would be a challenge to perhaps a certain philosophical or theological sort of view. But we're talking about the fact that we have operational technologies in these unacknowledged special access projects, USAPs, that would completely liberate the world from what I call the petro-Nazis and the earth-destroying technologies that in the 1800s or early 20th century were manageable. And now with 7.2 billion people using them all over China, India, Europe, everywhere, now we're running up against these, what I call the three huge red lines. And we need to talk about what these red lines are, because we've been pushing up against those red lines for some time now.
Yeah, that's right. And Dr. Greer, let me jump in before we hit this break. The whole financial world 2 weeks ago started talking about, and it was shocking for me to read, about the Rockefellers, pulling out of fossil fuels and their investment into that.
We knew they were doing that.
Yeah, when you got that news and it hit the mainstream media, were you like, aha, okay, here we go?
Yes, well, of course, and they know, they see, all these folks see the handwriting on the wall. I just spent the last 6 days with a man who's connected to all of the major oil producers in the Middle East and around Europe. And this person is 100% on our team now to bring these technologies forward, bring this information forward, and start a new civilization on Earth. You cannot, some of these things I can't go into too much deep, but you cannot believe the transformation that's happening at that level. And so I would say in the 23 years I've been involved, 26 years I've been involved with this. I founded CSETI in 1990. This is by far the most exciting and promising developments I have seen.
I can't believe it's been 26 years. And really quick before the break, with the press club stuff back in 2001, and here we are in 2016, has it moved along a little slow for you, or do you think it's probably what was to be expected?
Oh no, it's what was to be expected. The reason we did it, and the background on this is really interesting. If you look at our website and the connection to this event I did on the true story behind disclosure, it's a 4-hour seminar I did, and it was that we knew when we did it in 2001 that the government, because we had dealt with governments all over the world at very high levels, that they were completely broken and dysfunctional. That's why we did it. I mean, I'm working as an emergency doctor putting this thing together with no staff, virtually no funding, and yet it became one of the largest events in the history of the National Press Club, not just in the UFO subject. And the way that happened was the people, but we did it because we realized that it had to be done. So we knew that the process would be an ultra marathon, and now it's coming up into it's picking up sort of quantum leaps of momentum here in the last few months.
Yeah, I can feel the vibe. Over the last 2 years, especially, it's definitely headed in that direction.
100%, you're right.
Now, I'm going to see you. We're going to take a break right here, but I'm going to see you in 2 weeks up in San Francisco at the New Living Expo. I look forward to that, and we'll talk about that after the break. But what is your presentation going to be on up there? Because over the next 7 days, you're going to start to unravel some of this. Is there going to be more big news at New Living?
Oh, sure. Absolutely, there will be.
All right, let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer. And I'm calling this show Disclosure Part 2 because we are certainly in a new phase of everything. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and I'll be back right after this short break. Stay right there.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy sucks, and allergies really can be annoying. What if you could change that? What if you could drink something that changed the sick and tired scenario? Well, you can change how you feel with a little help from Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is a drink you make, you control, and you drink. There are 8 organic herbs that blend together and give you what you need to fight the flus and colds of this world. Less sickness is more relief. Life Change Tea can help with high blood pressure, constipation, high cholesterol, and much, much more just by drinking the tea. Read the numerous testimonies at getthetea.com. If you're tired of feeling lousy, order right now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. If you've heard this commercial more than once and someone's trying to tell you something, it's time to get well. GetTheT.com.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you. And your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boom boxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer. Calling this show Disclosure 2.0 because that is where we are at. We are definitely heading into a new phase of things. And Dr. Greer, you had mentioned earlier in the segment that people wonder, how you are still alive. And I've asked you that question before. I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks at the New Living Expo. Do you travel with security?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course we do. But that's mainly for asymmetrical threats, meaning things that you can't plan for, like just some crazy person coming up. But in terms of the intelligence community, I want to be careful what I'm saying here. And you have to understand that when I first briefed the CIA director on this in December of 1993, only about 30% of the people on the committee, the Joint Committee on Intelligence that deals with this, were all in favor of anything we were recommending, disclosure, bringing out the technologies, et cetera, and so forth. Now it's around 70%. Now, this is not to say that they're going to necessarily do it, because the 30% that are still opposed are, I use this word advisedly as a medical professional, sociopaths, and some of them are psychopaths. And one of the problems and the lesson that was learned from some of the people who are more, let's say, enlightened within that group is that when former CIA director Bill Colby in the mid-90s was going to transfer to us an operational zero-point energy device that was free energy and a substantial amount of seed funding so we could get it out to the world open source, completely without patent, without restrictions. The week he was going to meet with a member of my board, they found him floating down the Potomac River dead. Now, his son thinks he committed suicide. We know he didn't. In fact, his best friend, Bill Colby's best friend, the CIA director under Ford, who had retired, met with me and said, we know what happened here, but we can never look back. We just have to go forward. So they made an example out of him. Now, that was 20 years ago or so, maybe a little more. And there are a lot of people. One of the problems with all the conspiracy theory people is they paint everything with one brush stroke, and it's much more complicated and nuanced than that. For example, there have been people saying, "Oh, well, Dr. Greer is a CIA agent or something because he was helping to advise Lawrence Rockefeller on what to do about this." But Lawrence Rockefeller wasn't David, his brother, who was Chase Manhattan Bank, which is, of course, the J.P. Morgan Chase, one of the biggest banking empires in the world. He was the philosopher in the family who wanted disclosure. So just because he was a Rockefeller didn't mean that he was wanting to keep things secret or part of some cabal. And this, so there's this kind of simplistic, to the point of not useful conspiracy things that are out there. And the truth is that there are some really supportive people in the government, in the Pentagon. And one of the things I've said, I think the biggest and most supportive people that we have encountered are in the Pentagon and in the CIA, because they know how dangerous this rogue group is, and they are as frustrated as anyone listening on your show. So there are very friendly people to this, but They don't want to take the lead because they're in the system. I, on the other hand, am, a nobody. I'm an emergency doctor who got involved with this, and here we are. I have no official capacity. It doesn't mean that there's not vulnerability, and I accept that vulnerability, and so does my family. But the truth of the matter is we have freedom to do anything that we want to do, as do these military whistleblowers, by the way, because we established in 1997 and 98 and proved that these projects were illegal and unconstitutional, and therefore the national security oaths that people have signed are null and void. This is something that will be part of this campaign before the film comes out, before this global kickoff event, before the book comes out, because, and anyone listening needs to listen very carefully to this. We contacted every division of this government and governments in other countries like the UK and elsewhere, and established and can prove in a court of law that the people who were supposed to be managing and overseeing these unacknowledged special access projects, USAPs, were behaving outside legal and required oversight. Therefore, it's a criminal enterprise, and a criminal enterprise has no enforceability for any legal or other contract that they sign. So if someone is working at the Lockheed Skunk Works on this stuff, or at so-called Area 51, or at Dugway in Utah, or et cetera and so on, those folks need to understand they are under no obligation legally, morally, or in any other way to remain quiet, because the overseeing entity on this is itself an unconstitutional criminal endeavor. And they cannot break the law and then use the law to punish these folks. Now, where you people say, well, it might still be risky for them. I said it's only risky if they do it as a lone wolf. And this gets to how you really provide what I call strategic security. Tactical security is having a bodyguard. So what? Strategic security is you have how many people listening on your show right now? I don't know. Millions of people aware of what you're doing in real time.
Right.
And people say, why do you talk about things before you've actually done it? I talked about the disclosure project that we were doing for months before, and I said, because our first level, our real bodyguards are the masses of people knowing about it. Because if you do things secretively, you're playing on the field of these devils who run secret programs. If you do things openly, you have the support of the people, and it becomes very conspicuous if they do some shenanigan. This is also why, with these technologies, we're going to be launching a global, what's called an incubator fund, to provide the research and support for scientists all over the world that we're connecting with in the last few months, to be funded and to be live streamed, all their research and everything they do, if they're participating and being funded by the people. They have to provide everything without patents and without secrets. That means everyone on Earth will see the results of their research in real time. It's sort of like the software program called GitHub, which everyone laughed at, which is an open source coding, software coding program. And people say, well, nobody will do this because everybody wants to keep their code secret. In fact, what they found is that when people collaborate openly and transparently, problems that would take a year to solve can be solved in a month. And so this is the concept that both this film that's going to be crowdfunded, we need everyone's help, and the book, which will come out together at the same time, and then this huge kickoff event that is a global live event. All of that is going to be to support that program so that we put together the best people on Earth working together. And not only are their laboratories live streamed online, but all of their research findings, whenever they get a positive finding, that is released immediately to the public. No secrecy around it, no intellectual property, no patent. And the people I'm working with right now, some of whom are working with organizations that have assets into the hundreds of billions of dollars that are watching this, or have gone from saying, no, we have to do everything secretively. It's like Apple, where, you have to, it's more secret than the National Security Agency, if you know what Apple is doing with their next iPhone.
Right.
That it's the opposite of that. And every single person who I've explained why we're doing the strategy this way, because it builds strategic security, it keeps it from being able to be seized by the government, and it gets it out to the people in an open source way immediately. Every single person I presented this to over the last few months has said, yes, you're absolutely right, and every other strategy has failed over the past 100 years. So that's what we're doing. And it's a very sophisticated strategy in the sense that it accounts for the fact that every time you have an inventor who comes across this sort of breakthrough, and they're doing it as an unknown lone wolf, or as someone trying to pursue a patent, or keeping it secret, usually they're dead before anyone can find out what they've done. Or it is confiscated, or some big corporation gets them involved in a legal entanglement, and it's tied up forever.
And you can't afford to fight it forever, and you just
and we can't do this anymore. Look, if you don't learn from history, you're going to repeat it. And so, and this is something people in the new and alternative energy field have got to understand. There are specific traps that are set out there in the system. So the system, we have to bypass the system. Just like we're bypassing the government system for disclosure, we're bypassing the intellectual property, venture capital, patent world on the technology, and it is the only way it will happen. And the reason I say that confidently is that I have tracked hundreds of initiatives over the last 25 years. Every single one of them have vanished. Every single one of them.
Well,
because they have not understood the strategic wisdom of what I've just explained to your listeners. And if your listeners are listening very carefully, they'll realize that what a great thing, because once you put all this network together, now, you can't do that for a few $1,000s. We had hoped Sirius would have raised enough to initiate it. It didn't. Most people saw it on pirated sites for free, which is fine. I mean, it got the word out.
Right.
This one, we want to do in such a way that it prevents it from being under-supported by the public, that it will be, if anything, massively supported. And I think now we have the team of people that can make that happen, because it is a amazing group of folks who are on board, not only because it to benefit the earth and humanity, but they actually understand the implications of this kind of knowledge and science and technology. And many of them have just awakened in the last year or two by discovering what we're doing, that we really are, as a civilization, running out of time to get this right. And I mentioned these three red lines that we're running up against. One of them is geopolitical, and that is, when you have half the world's population in absolute poverty because of the petrodollar system and also the technology, which requires that most of the world's population is in poverty, that is a prescription for revolution and disaster. So this would change that dynamic by creating enormous abundance all over the world. Secondly, the biosphere and environmental red line. We've been pushing up against this red line for a very long time, where we're damaging the oceans, the atmosphere, the land, poison, Fukushima, on and on and on. And everyone says, oh, well, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can do. There's 7 billion people. Well, actually, there's a lot we can do. This can be completely rectified and corrected over the next 10 or 15 years. The other part, the red line we're running up against, which is the one no one thinks about, is that there is a rogue element within the military and intelligence community who have been doing very dangerous things towards these interstellar civilizations, these ET civilizations, that really is reckless. For example, most people know that over the last 50, 60 years, our military programs have targeted, and it isn't every day, but occasionally destroyed or brought down an extraterrestrial vehicle. Well, this is, the height of stupidity, but it's a dangerous thing to be doing because they have no idea how risky that is. And so the disclosure of this information is very important because we need to have saner people managing the program who understand the necessity of a peaceful relationship with Earth and these other civilizations, because we're not dealing with technologies where you could ever survive a conflict scenario. It would be, they absolutely end. I mean, if you think thermonuclear war, mutual assured destruction would be bad. Interplanetary conflict would be a million times worse and deadlier more quickly. So we have people who have been doing very reckless things because nobody is supervising them properly. Certainly the people aren't, and I can assure you the President of the United States and the Congress are not. Therefore, you have people doing things that are endangering the entirety of humanity. So we have that issue, the biosphere environmental issue, and this very key geopolitical and macroeconomic issue. These are all crises that are coming to a head, and we have to look at what an integrative and holistic strategy would be to correct it, and that's what we're doing.
How do you vet your whistleblowers? Because it seems to me that today everybody's a whistleblower and they have different messages and they're not, they're not the same, if you know what I mean, right? And
yes, I do, and this is a huge problem.
It is, and then let me tie on one other thing to that. With the free energy stuff that is out there, without naming names, there are a couple of people that have surfaced over the last year or two with pretty fantastic claims, raised a lot of money, and then didn't deliver. And then that, to me, is disinformation and steering this all down the wrong road and slowing us down.
Correct. And this is the worst sort of thing. First of all, in terms of a whistleblower, so those of you listening who may have a family member, a friend, or yourself, someone who's been involved in one of these ET, UFO, or free energy, zero-point energy related projects, listen carefully. It has to be firsthand. If possible, we need to see documentation of that person's employment or proof that they were at the place where they say the event happened, when it happened. And we like to see corroborating either documents or other people who can corroborate what they were doing. So that's what we are trying to do. Now, that isn't possible in all cases. We are not interested in secondhand accounts, and we're not interested in a message. In other words, we want the facts, just like you would have in a court case. What did you see? Where were you? What was happening? What did you personally deal with, et cetera, and so on. Very straightforward. And if you look at it, that's what's in the Disclosure Project archive. We have over 5 or 6 dozen of these military witnesses up on our site right now. Same thing with government documents. Okay, and that's the other thing we're looking for. I have a number of government documents that have not been declassified, even top secret ones, that deal with this issue. And it's perfectly fine that I have them. It's not a Snowden situation. Snowden was dealing with programs that the President and the Congress were aware of, and they were legal programs, even if they were stupid programs. The things I'm talking about are illegal programs. So those documents and even the material, whether it be an operating device, extraterrestrial parts of a craft, physical bodies, whatever it is, all of that is fair game because these projects have been for decades run illegally. Exactly. The first director of the CIA, I have a letter from him where he says, after he left that position, Admiral Roscoe Hillenkoetter, and he said, the secrecy around UFOs is a threat to the national security. He didn't say the UFOs were. He said the secrecy is. So this echoes what Eisenhower said. beware of the military-industrial complex. So what we have to understand is after 50, 60 years of this sort of nonsense, that we have to make a change. And the people, however, who have been caught in the system, worked in the system, most of them are just sort of innocent parties to this. They don't understand, and I didn't either, I have to say. When I first started having meetings with people like the CI director or the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency or members of the Senate Intelligence Committee, I honestly thought that these folks would know what's going on, and I was just there to explain why we needed to change policy. When I found out that, in fact, they absolutely didn't know, that's when I had the proof, because I wasn't doing this through a conspiracy theory. These were face-to-face meetings. I knew at that point we were dealing with a very big problem of illegal covert operations that are these unacknowledged special access projects. And, we have $100 to $200 billion a year being stolen out of our treasury going into these projects. So this is a very big problem, and that's why I tell people, we have to have a strategy that can accommodate how big the problem is. And it turns out the strategy, in a sense, is very elegant. It has to do with the public and these people who are on the inside coming forward, but we do require that they do so transparently. We're not interested in second and third hand accounts. We want things from official governments, not just in the United States. I have an ambassador from one country to another scouring right now as we talk all Latin American governments for things to come forward. I have somebody who is connected to India and Asia doing the same thing, et cetera, and so on. We have a very dear friend of mine, Jan Harzan, who is the director of MUFON, who is cooperating with the best things that they have in their network, as well as sources and potential witnesses and whistleblowers and documents working with us. So this is a global project, and we have wonderful people all over the world. But everyone listening, some of the most amazing things that have come our way are people who are just sitting on it out there, whether it be a functional technology or a witness or a piece of evidence. Now, let me talk about what you said about a lot of these free energy claims. You're right. And here's what we require. Anything that someone says they have to be able to provide it to us, allow it to go open source. We're not going to keep it secret. It has to be able to be reproduced independently by an engineering team, and we have that team now set up and funded. So let's say someone has something they say is working. You say, fine. It has to not only be tested, but we also have to be able to independently recreate it. And that's the gold standard of science. It has to be independently reproduced. If it can't be independently reproduced until proven otherwise, it is a fraud. It's snake oil. And so that is our requirement. It's very straightforward. And actually, it's normal validation and scientific technique. Nobody can go out there and claim they have a major scientific discovery and say, oh, but it's secret. I can't let you know how it works. I mean, This is ridiculous.
Right.
Only in the new energy, zero-point energy and UFO field can you do something like this. You cannot do that in any other area of science. So, if somebody wanted to work with it, listen, the other thing is if someone has something that is operational and they need to be compensated for all their years of research, I have people on my team now who can do that.
Really quick before we run out of time, I almost want to ask, you want to hang on for another 15 minutes? I have two more questions that I got to hit you with, actually 3.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm happy to.
Okay, so let's have fun in the next 3 minutes before we go to break, which is the X-Files. It seemed like, especially that first episode, you were being quoted, your movement, verbatim. The free energy and disclosure. Right. How did that make you feel? And were you contacted by Chris Carter?
No, but years ago I met with the writers of the X-Files, and this sounds terrible. I don't really look at television, and fiction I never look at. So I've never seen an episode. Now, I've heard about this premiere episode, and from what I understand, it is virtually verbatim what we have been providing to the public for, about 20 years. So, but to be honest with you, there was no direct collaboration, but, everything I do and put out there, it's a vast amount of information, has been shared quite openly and freely. So they certainly follow it. I know they do, because years ago I was at, Century City and Fox Studios and met some of the writers of the show, and they are certainly interested. But in terms of any direct collaboration, no, there was none. And, I have mixed feelings about it, because the fact that it was in the context of a fictionalized show, on the one hand, may get it out to a lot of people. On the other hand, it tends towards the fantasy prone, where it might, in a sense, neutralize the factual nature of what was being portrayed. However, that's sort of an open debate on that. But yes, I'm very aware of it.
Yeah, and for me, Dr. Greer, what I thought was really cool about it was there were millions of people, especially on that premiere episode where the ratings were so high, that were not part of us, right? And they had never heard of free energy or an alien reproduction vehicle and so forth, and that were Googling that the very next day and finding, SeriousDisclosure.com and going up and following up and researching on their own, that would have never done it before that show.
Yes, well, we got inundated, and, until 10 days ago, we had no paid staff. Right now we have one person who is there. So everything we've done, people have these grandiose fantasies, has just been put into getting this out there to the people. We've done this 100% with volunteer people, which is amazing that we've done this. But now we're trying to move it to the next level, and certainly, obviously, this movie and what have you is going to have a real production team put together, which we're assembling right now. And that's why we want the public to be the participants in this. And the other thing I have to announce, if you have 1 second,
we got
is
30 seconds before the break.
The movie Sirius, we are about to place all over the place, and on our youtube.com/SDisclosure, S for Sirius, but it's just SDisclosure. It's going to be up for free for everyone in the world to see in its entirety, unedited, very soon. And that's something that we want to do. We're able to do it at this point, and we feel that that's going to be a great way to introduce folks to this next project. And so that's something for people to be watching for.
Okay, right there, we'll go ahead and take our break. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer. He's going to hang on for another 15 minutes of overtime. Very busy man. Thank you, Dr. Greer, for allowing us to do that. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back. More with Dr. Greer in just a second.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Not being able to fall asleep is so frustrating. The tossing, the turning, the adjustment of pillows and blankets. Ugh! Eventually you just decide to get up and start your day really early. It doesn't have to be this way though. Power Sleep is an all-natural non-prescription formula that will help you sleep like a baby. It contains neurotransmitter nutrients that promote the production of serotonin, which is responsible for feelings of well-being. Power Sleep is easy to digest and absorb and is made in a base of active probiotics. Don't miss another night of sleep. Order your Power Sleep at EnergyWave.com or call 800-TURTLE-5. Add Power Vites to your cart while you're browsing. Perfect for Monday mornings. They're a complete multivitamin and mineral formula that will give you the energy you need to get through your day. Nourish your immune system and feel great. Get all the info and place your order at EnergyWave.com. Enter code word SLEEP to get free shipping. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's all here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With the mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer, back with us. And Dr. Greer, what I wanted to ask you right before the break is there has always been this, the ET presence is malevolent, it's benevolent, there's a war going on, there isn't a war going on, they're here to save us, they're here to take over the planet. And for me, I listen to everybody, on my show. I listen to it, and I let my audience, decide and research and so forth. But for you, has your attitude or your feelings about that changed, or has something on one side or the other solidified?
No, it has never changed. I had a contact experience when I was very young, and then when I was 18. And it led me to form CSETI and the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind Initiative, which is a global diplomatic initiative to make contact. We've never had anything resembling a negative experience. Now, that you cannot prove a negative. So you can't, anyone who says, I have proof that there's not this, it's axiomatic, you can't prove. On the other hand, if there were genuinely malevolent ETs. I'm not talking about demons and spirits from other dimensions. I'm talking about interstellar civilization. With the kinds of technologies we're talking about, the moment that we detonated atomic weapons and then nuclear weapons, it would have been over, and certainly going into space with them. So I think one of the things I said to an Air Force colonel at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base some years ago, I went to this meeting right after I was at the Rockefeller Ranch, Lawrence Rockefeller, and this guy was bringing this issue up, and I said, sir, the fact that you and I are still breathing the free air of Earth is abundant testimony to their restraint, given how stupid and how militaristic our response to them has been. Now, with that said, what I think is that there are many different civilizations out there, and I think some of them are less than pleased with how humans, and particularly our military, are behaving. But I don't think that's necessarily a sign of malevolence. I think that's a sign of common sense. Because if you were to step back from our planet for a second, look, in 100 years, we have killed hundreds of millions of people, of our own people, in warfare. We've gone from cannons and machine guns to thermonuclear weapons. We have gone from the early industrial era to now degrading the biosphere to such a point that one of the 5 directors of NASA told me that if the public knew how bad it was, there'd be panic. So my point is that any civilization watching this would be shocked and appalled. Now, this is not to say that they're necessarily overtly hostile. It's that perhaps they're quite concerned, and they have good reason to be, as any thinking human would, if they just step back for a moment and look at kind of what a mess we've made of our planet and of our civilization. So I think people have to sort of take a deep breath and say, even if there was a civilization or two out there that were less than friendly, you're not going to resolve that issue with the kind of weaponry that is 1,000 times more powerful than a hydrogen bomb that we're talking about when you're talking about interstellar technology. So the sort of way we've dealt with these issues in the past is a failed paradigm. We have to find a better way of dealing with anything that resembles a conflict without going to something that is what you call a war. Now, with that said, there are people who are, I think, have been engaging in false events to create fear in the minds of the public. I think they have planned a sort of a cosmic false flag event that they want to eventually pop on the public. I think that it's very easy to deceive people if you have trillions of dollars in these kinds of technologies and human programs where you can have man-made flying saucers that are anti-gravity and all kinds of other what's called stagecraft. It wouldn't be hard to set up scenarios where you could deceive people. And so I think we have to be very skeptical, which is how I approach everything, of people who would like to create this sort of black and white Manichaean view of, there are good ones and bad ones, and we have to have some big war. That might satisfy people in the military industrial complex and financial system that would love to unite the world around a militaristic response to neighbors out in space. I don't see where there's any benefit to humanity for that. So I tend to be incredibly skeptical because I see the kind of machinations and Byzantine politics that goes in on all the time that manipulated us into the Vietnam War and manipulated us into the Iraq War and well, how hard would it be for these same interests to manipulate us into an interplanetary conflict just spun out of whole cloth? So I think we have to be incredibly careful with this sort of thing.
That was actually very insightful because that was my second question, and and to that end, how aware do you have to be with not only Washington D.C. and the CIA and the NSA and those that are trying to control the message, those that are allowing you to continue to speak? I mean, how do you know if you don't have the wrong message? And how do you know if you have the right one? And when you're being allowed to speak, does that also throw up a red flag for yourself?
No, it just means that they understand that there are, as I said, there are friendlies and unfriendlies within the current, let's call it committee, MAGIC, the Majority Intelligence Committee that deals with this, Interagency Joint Intelligence Committee that deals with this. And I think a number of them are deeply concerned at the direction all of this has been flowing in the last 50 years. And that's how that is. I don't think it means that the message, and by the way, my message is just don't jump off a cliff at all on the sort of fear-mongering and war-mongering, because usually there's someone manipulating the facts that have stampeded humans into these kind of conflicts because they have ulterior motives, whether it be financial or controlling people through demagoguery or what have you. So I tend to be rather skeptical of these sorts of claims. But I always, let's play the devil's advocate. Let's say the people are right that there's some kind of big cosmic battle. Well, do we really? First of all, people have to realize that science and technology that's behind an interstellar, transdimensional level of civilization is not like in Star Trek where, you're shooting little laser guns at each other, ping, ping, ping. I know what the science is that deals with interstellar technologies. You're not going to engage in a conflict that would last more than a nanosecond before it would terminate all life on Earth. So these sort of war fantasies, it makes a great video game, makes a great science fiction movie, and it makes for a lot of great UFO books and conference speakers. But when you boil it, if you have any sort of technical knowledge of what you're talking about with these kinds of technologies, it's simply a non-survivable event for longer than one interchange, one volley. You know, you're not lobbing spears at each other here. So I think it's sort of an absurd paradigm, and yet at the same time, humans are so addicted to conflict. And one of my concerns is that in our evolution, we've had a lot of isms, racism and this ism and that ism, where we have gone to war for thousands of years over things that in retrospect weren't that important. And it's very easy for humans to step into that and then extrapolate it or push it forward into the next level of otherness out there. In this case, extraterrestrial otherness is people from other civilizations. I think this is actually a deep spiritual question and psychological issue of how do we view ourselves going forward? Do we view ourselves as a bunch of rampaging apes, or do we view ourselves as conscious, intelligent, sentient beings that can learn to live peacefully on our planet and peacefully in our universe? And that's the real big challenge of our time. It should have been addressed in the 40s and 50s, and it didn't. And it's time that we address it now. And it needs to be the wise elders of the Earth planet and calmer heads prevailing than people who just want to shoot first and ask questions later. Yeah. So I think this is a really big issue you're bringing up, and it's an entire show, really.
It truly is, and this will be the last question, which is, it's in our DNA, Dr. Greer. We're the only species on this planet that kills our own. Lions don't kill lions. You know what I mean? Apes don't kill apes, but we kill each other. It seems like it's in our DNA. How can we change that? How can we change our very DNA?
A little correction there. The studies with chimpanzees and apes is that they do organize into groups that do organized warfare. And there is 98% of our genetics that are primate. And so I think that there is something very atavistic, very much in the primitive state that is in us. But that's not all we are. We are also conscious. We have the faculty of reason, of spirituality, of all these beautiful aspects of humanity. And so we have to reach to this higher nature is what I think we have to do. And I think with that, we can certainly overcome it. And this is why I think in many respects, while I'm not particularly fond of the dogma of organized religion, I think there is a deep consciousness spirituality that has to awaken at the same time that we awaken this idea that we're not alone in the universe, and how do we go forward, and also how do we live on our planet in a way that's compassionate to not only Mother Earth, but also to our fellow human beings. I think this is a deep spirituality and compassion that it transcends any particular sect or religion that we need to begin to appreciate has to happen at the same time that we're doing these other efforts.
So I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's very late on the East Coast, and thank you in advance. Now, what are you going to be speaking about? What's your presentation at the New Living Expo?
I'm doing two, one on Friday evening, the 29th, and one on May 1st at around noon. My information is at SeriousDisclosure.com, and I'll be in the Bay Area. And the one presentation on, I believe it's, I'm sorry, I have to look at the schedule, is really on disclosure and these technologies and what we're doing. It'll be a 2-hour tour de force. The other one is based on the concept of transdimensional technologies and the science of consciousness and how those come together in the future where we're going to have a civilization where the really big advances are going to be between mind-matter interaction and electromagnetic fields in consciousness. And what we've done with that is a corollary to Dr. John's work at Princeton with the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research in the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind initiative that involves meditative states, remote viewing, and making contact with these civilizations. And so that's what the other presentation is going to be. So it's actually two separate presentations over that weekend.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
One other thing, if I can quickly.
Sure.
If people want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Dr. Stephen Greer, DR Stephen Greer, without a period. And then our website, if you want to sign up and find out about this big campaign and launch, go to SeriousDisclosure.com, and we have a free newsletter, email updates that anyone can get, and also our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/SeriousDisclosure. So, and our YouTube is youtube.com/SDisclosure, just the letter S, as in Steve, or Serious Disclosure. So you can go there and follow what we're doing and get updates. And I would ask that people, I've been seen following social media during this interview. What can we do? How can I get involved? We need help on so many fronts. We really do. And we need people who can help with the film. We need people who have access to a lot of these A-list performers and musicians and what have you for this big kickoff event. We need people to be scouts out there for legitimate technologies that we want to showcase in the film, the book, and at this event. We need people to help contribute funds and resources and open their network. And when we announce this campaign, we're going to have a link that will go out that you can put on your website or send out to your groups, and that will go back to what this campaign is. That goes into detail, and so people can learn how to help and to volunteer. So I just wanted to put that in there so people get a sense of, what can we do now to the people out there listening.
We have all the links up at jimmychurchradio.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Greer. We'll see you 2 weeks up in the city by the bay.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you.
Talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Bye-bye.
Dr. Stephen Greer. I'm going to open up the phone lines, 323-825-5045, 323-825-5045. What I meant by animals don't, you understand what I'm saying. Of course animals kill animals. They eat. But we're not eating each other. Well, at least most of us aren't. No, we go to war with ourselves. That's my point. Look, there's examples of animals killing each other out there. I get that. I understand that. You know exactly what I'm saying. We have no issues with shooting first and asking questions or not later. That's what we do. And it's in our DNA. We've been doing it forever. And I've still never quite understood that over the craziest stuff. He brought up one point, and by the way, phone lines are open, 323-825. Well, hold on. Let me clear them now. Okay. Yeah, phone lines are open, 323-825-5045. What'd you think? What'd you think about Dr. Greer and everything that he had to say tonight? Let's talk about that, 323-825-5045. At the top of the hour, I'm going to bring in Ronnie McMullen from Get the Tea, too, as well. And he made another really good point that I was going to jump in on, but I just thought I'd save it. When it comes to religion, whatever you believe, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter. And the belief in a religion is always a good thing because of the rules and the laws behind those religions. The God or gods or angels or not, whatever type of religion, that part of it can get a little bit strange because not everybody is right or everybody is right. It's the laws behind them that keep us in check, that are the good things. You shall not kill, rape, steal. Those moral laws behind religion are excellent We could take religion out of the play and just have those laws in place, and we're good. And if you just live by those, then you live clean, right? And it doesn't have to be Catholicism. It doesn't have to be Hindu, Buddha, Islam, Christianity, Mormon. It doesn't have to be any of that. Take all of that out of the play and just go to the list of the good stuff, the rules that you need to live by, respect others, and that's I think is something that needs to be spoken about a little bit more. Also, there's one other thing that he started to touch upon, and I find this very interesting. Us, humanity, goes to war. We have no issues with building tanks and nuclear weapons and guided bombs and jets and stealth and this and RPGs and grenades and bullets and faster, bigger, better weapons. We have no problems with doing that. All of that stuff is meant to kill people, civilizations, cities, wipe them off the earth, right? That's what they're designed for. But at the same time, we'll go to a comedy club. It doesn't make any sense. It's really weird. We have this built-in, and he mentioned it, and it's true. We have consciousness. We have emotions. We get sad. We get happy. And we laugh. And we're okay with watching a funny movie, a sad movie, talking and telling stories and wanting to go to, like I said, a comedy club and laugh. But yet we have no issues with building these huge armies and ships and navies, and it's crazy how we're a paradox and hypocritical on our own selves. It's amazing to me. And when I say it's part of our DNA, it's because it is. Consciousness is. Humor is. Emotions, sadness, and happiness. It's all part of our DNA. And it does make us unique. But at the same time, we have no issues with carjacking somebody and shooting somebody. It's like crazy. It just doesn't make any sense. So how do we fix that part of our DNA? I really feel, now, our people that we hang out with, not only when we go to conferences and go out and hang out with masses of people, but our friends and our circle of people, and certainly the audience here and this world that we live in, I see nothing but positive. That's what we surround ourselves with. We don't surround ourselves with negativity. We don't do that. There are no negative people in our lives. And I'm talking about the Fade to Black team and myself. No, there's no negativity. If you've got negativity, you got that aura around you, you're kicked out of the car. You're not invited over. You're not part. You don't hang out. So maybe I've got my blinders on because all I surround myself with is positivity and happiness and no negativity. But I see this shift. Now, when I see this shift in consciousness, I do. I can feel it. And then what's weird and how I prove that to myself is when I go outside of the circle and I'm talking with somebody that doesn't know about Fade to Black, doesn't know about this show, doesn't know about TV and things that we deal with, and I get somebody out of that circle and start to talk to them and find out that their concerns are the same as mine. And it's refreshing, but it also lets me know that the barometer is going in the other direction. It's pushing in another direction, and I can feel it and I can see it. I can go to my dry cleaners and talk to the guy at the counter that doesn't know anything about me, but I will find out, through conversation that these people are concerned with the same thing, and they feel the shift in consciousness too. I think everybody's getting a little bit tired now after thousands of years of war and negativity and craziness on this planet. And I think that everybody realizes now that we can only survive for so much longer in the direction that we're going. And I am talking about fossil fuels and war and negativity and the financial system. All of these things combined together. And everybody's picking up on that vibe. We just can't figure out what to do next and how to make this shift. Is it in our DNA, man? Do we need to take some kind of red pill, something that would alter our very DNA? And just one day we just look at each other and go, you know what? Our taxes aren't paying for guns anymore. And not only here, I'm talking about around the world. You know, this isn't the 1960s, and that's not where I'm going with any of this. But certainly, if you are a visitor to this world, to this planet, and you come down and check us out, you would trip. You would trip. I would only assume that civilization, and Dr. Greer said it so well, you know, that interstellar civilization that would come here is way advanced. And they've matured, and they've gone through what we're going through here, probably so long ago that they've forgotten about it, right? And they come here and they get reminded, and they just look at this primitive nature on how we exist and coexist on this planet. It's crazy that on this planet, we fight over borders and religion on this planet amongst ourselves. It's crazy to me, and it's part of our DNA. I don't know how to alter it. I think the only thing that I can do, and I feel this shift going on out there, I feel it, I see it, is that we have to continue to mature and recognize that we're headed in the wrong path. And I know that is exactly what is going on. I said this the other night somewhere, that we're like 21 years old. 22 years old, humanity. We're at that age bracket. We're at that age bracket where the party time is over, and now we need to look serious at our lives and the world, and we need to sit down and get a real job, put the partying behind us, and start to grow. Start to grow as a person. And I think that's where we are. In humanity, I think we've kind of grown up a little bit. We're starting to mature here. We're going to get this done. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Dr. Stephen Greer. Whoa. When I come back, your phone calls. And Ronnie McMullen will be joining us. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
On JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
If your home has hard water and it's leaving white spots, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes. Limescale can cost hundreds of dollars a year in wasted energy and early appliance breakdown. HydroCare systems available at Wave Home Solutions prevent and remove limescale with just a simple filter change every 3 years. There are no salts, chemicals, or magnetic coils. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, just go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
If you're a talk radio fan, AccessRadio.net lets you listen to the best talk shows anytime and from anywhere. Works on your mobile or landline phone, and there's no cost if you have unlimited minutes. No need to use your data. Find your favorite talk show listen lines and discover new ones. Now you can listen on your schedule. Go to AccessRadio.net. That's AccessRadio.net. Save your favorite listen lines today.
Hi, I'm Richard Dolan. When I'm not hosting my radio program, The Richard Dolan Show on KGRA, or writing new books on UFOs, I run a publishing company. I'm proud to say that Richard Dolan Press has published some of the most fascinating books available on UFOs and related subjects. They include Dr. Bruce Maccabee's classic analysis of the UFO cover-up, David Marler's breakthrough book on triangular UFOs, Dr. Richard Sauter's unique work on underground bases, and other classics by Grant Cameron, Chase Kletsky, and Dr. Bob Wood, not to mention intriguing works by Eve Lorgan and Laurie MacDonald that deal with truly bizarre phenomena. I'm proud to publish such high-quality and original works, and there are several amazing books about to be released over the next few months. Go to richarddolanpress.com to learn more.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What'd you think of Dr. Stephen Greer? Amazing conversation. 323-825-5045. I would like to welcome back to the program the one and only Ronnie McMullen. Ronnie, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good. Let me twist some knobs here. All right, there you go. Talk to me, Ronnie.
Well, I am fascinated and excited to be on the Jimmy Church Show.
Oh, stop. Did you listen to, I'm more fascinated because you're on my show. What'd you think of Dr. Greer? And
what I think of Dr. Greer?
No, what did you think of the conversation?
It was good. It was good conversation. Yeah, it was there.
It was. I think you're being kind, but let me say this, and I hope that he's listening. There is definitely two sides, two lives almost of Dr. Greer's. There's the CE5 contact Dr. Greer, and then there's the other side. No, there's three. Then you have the hardcore disclosure, Dr. Greer. And then we have this free energy movement, Dr. Greer, today. And I think his message today is on point. There's nothing that you can say negative about what his message is. His message is fine. His methodology is fine. There's nothing wrong with his message. This free energy thing is something that is a big, big deal for this planet, and that's what I find interesting. And I thought that he was very direct and to the point tonight.
Yeah, I thought so too. My opinions are quite different though when it comes to free energy and those that run this world. So that's
how so, Ronnie?
Well, how I feel about it, and again, just my own personal opinions. I watch when you hobnob with the Rockefellers and you hobnob with the big names and drop names and so on and so forth. They always get you because here's the thing. We already have free energy. It's already there. It's been here for a very long time. And, however, there's a spiritual realm that goes on, and obviously they and them that run this world, they're very spiritual, even though they may be slammed that they're not spiritual. They're very spiritual. They know the deck of cards. They know how it goes. And they don't want free energy because they can't make money off of free energy. They have to control everything. So I don't see us coming to a free energy issue until the spiritual realm drops down, until the light becomes brighter. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong, but I think that we're getting ready to rock. Something's going to change here in the near future. I mean, we got these presidents that are, I call them presidents, they're not presidents, these wannabe presidents,
right?
And they're fighting and throwing mud at each other, and they're acting like 3-year-olds, and they're cussing, in front of kids. I don't. What happened to them wearing ties? I mean, our nation is changing, and it's not for the better. We actually need an attitude adjustment by a greater source. And so, anyway, when it comes to the free energy thing, I'm all for it. I think Dr. Greer, that's great that he's going for it, but I don't think the powers that be are going to let that happen because there's no money in it for them, and there's no control in it.
Well, as soon as they can figure out a distribution system where they can charge for it, then we'll have that technology right here.
That's a fact. As soon as they can get maybe we'll use the Bitcoin to get our free energy.
Well, let me give you. You're a car guy. I'm a car guy. Okay, and so for the audience, I want everybody to digest and swallow what I'm about to say. Okay. We have right now, and some of them are on the road right now, we have the free energy vehicles running right now, the hydrogen cell vehicles. We have all of the hydrogen that we could ever use for the rest of the history of the universe. Okay, all of it is there that we would ever need. The problem and the reason why every car is not a hydrogen cell vehicle right now, and I've driven one a lot. The reason is there's no distribution network for hydrogen. There isn't. There's no distribution. We have a built-in distribution network for water and for gas, right? And electricity. But as far as hydrogen goes, I had meetings and training stuff with General Motors, and I asked them these questions directly. Why these cars are fast? They're cool. They're electric, but they're powered with the hydrogen cell, power cell that converts the hydrogen into electricity. And but they're cool. They're quiet. You can go up to the tailpipe on the car and breathe it because it's steam. That's what's coming out of the tailpipe, right? And so what is more perfect than that? We've got oceans full of hydrogen, right? H2O, right? All you got to do is do the conversion. And the distribution network for hydrogen out there is not there. And to put that distribution into place, that network, they don't want to spend the money. They don't want to pull it off. And therefore, there are no hydrogen cell vehicles. You can buy them here in Los Angeles. There's 8, 10, 12 little hydrogen places around town. It's difficult to get to, and it's expensive, right? And you have to go there and fill up your fuel cell vehicle with hydrogen, and it's difficult and it's not easy. And they're not making it any easier. They could if they wanted to. You keep saying the powers that be, right? If they really were concerned about this planet and emissions and fossil fuels and everything else, they would put in a hydrogen network across the country. It's safe. Nobody's blowing up. We're not talking about the Hindenburg here. Those issues have been worked out. We know what's going on. And that goes out of the play. If they really were concerned and really cared, it would be in place, and it's not. Hydrogen cell vehicles are a miracle. It's amazing that those things actually work and how it works. And it's right there. And if you don't think that technology is real, it's proven. It's done. I've driven it. Well, they've broken down on me too as well. But
the key is they don't want it. They, capital T, they don't want it.
Well, because ultimately, hydrogen is free. Okay, we can extract it. We could, if you got all of those backyard chemists out there that know how to make meth, start making hydrogen for their cars, they'll figure out how to do it for free. Oceans are right there. Lakes are right there. And this is what's crazy. After you fill up your car and you run it, the steam goes back into the atmosphere. It doesn't go anywhere. You're not burning it. You're not. It's a bizarre concept and process. It's a total reusable, real technology. But there's a reason why. There's no network in place, and they can't make money off of it, and they don't want to. And right now, it's too cool of a solution. Imagine if everybody had a hydrogen car. That would be it. The oil industry is gone, and you're going to have people making their own hydrogen and never ever
BP
spending
would
money.
Close their doors.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
We can't have that.
Yep. Hey, is your new website up?
Yes, it is.
And do you have?
It is all mobile friendly. I've finally, after 9 years of Flintstone work, we now have mobile apps, and it all works out perfect so that it's mobile friendly. So I'm very excited about it.
Okay, I'm going there. Oh, look at this! Oh, it looks great. Wow, is that you? Are you this guy, Joe? Is that you?
Yeah, if that's me, I'm in trouble.
Okay. Oh, this is a great looking website. Okay, what are the specials you've got going on right now?
I think, you know what? I think the number one special, well, there's two. There's obviously the tea and meringue, and that's a beautiful thing. But, for people that are worrying about the future and worry turns to a gut ache, I would tell you to get the colostrum special when you get 2 weeks of free tea, plus you get colostrum. And, of course, if you're out there listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black, you just have to put in the coupon code, and you're going to get free shipping as well. So to me, I think, for me, anybody that has a stomach problem, life sucks. It really does. And I don't mean to offend anybody with that word. It was funny. I did a commercial and said suck on it, and everybody really got offended by it. So I didn't try to offend anybody. It just sucks. It's truth.
Right.
But long and the short of it is, when anybody has a gut ache and they have a problem with their stomach, they have, autoimmune disease, most people don't know that when we get disease, it all starts in the gut. So you fix the gut, you start fixing other problems. We always kind of think the brain and, and the heart, but really the gut is where it starts. So with that being said, colostrum LD is a beautiful thing. A lot of us were not breastfed as kids. We had the Infomil, we had all the garbage that replaces it because society had changed, and those same kids that maybe got taken away from the breast are the same kids today that have immune problems. So if you want to fix your immune system, colostrum LD helps that. And so that's probably, that and the tea and more has been the two biggest specials. They rock, and people really get into them because people don't like gut aches and they don't like colon cancer. So these two products really help.
Yeah, I'm looking. I didn't realize you had this many specials going on at the same time. You've got a year supply of tea special. Yeah. You got the regular
we got all kinds. We always have sales. And then on top of that, just put the code in, Jimmy, and get free shipping, and that's a beautiful thing too.
You've got a cool package deal. Yeah, I see the tea and more. You've got a Colostrum Supreme package, which is the Moringa, Colostrum LD, and that's my package right there. That's what I do every day. Everybody, if you want to know what my secret is. And then, of course, I've been doing the LD lately, the powder. So everything that I do here, you have on sale and you have packages. Yeah, this is really cool, Ronnie.
Yeah, you got to, people want savings, and, they're going to buy 1 or 2 or 3 items or 5 items or whatever. So they, okay, if I bought 2 or 3 items, could I get a little bit of a break? And the answer is yes. Go to the specials page and pick out what you need and shop, And here's the thing, is people are investing so much money in how they look, in how they dress, their nails, their hair, their this, their that. And yet we seem to slip on investing on what's going on inside. And then all of a sudden, the Grim Reaper's knocking on our door and we have to go to emergency. And, it's not worth it. It really isn't. So if we can start taking things, and it's not just taking the products. I really try to let people know that you need to get into some exercise. You need to make sure your diet's good because the foods, are changing. And, you're talking about earlier the DNA problem and things in our DNA, and how do we fix that? Our DNA is being altered by GMO, genetically modified organisms. The word organism, doesn't that give you the chills, Jimmy? Organism.
It does. Anything.
So that means you're eating GMO. If you have the Twinkie, if you have a certain hamburger, whatever, that you go down and where they don't do that, you are eating genetically modified organisms going into your body and changing your DNA and RNA. Now that's chilling.
What is it about the tea what is it that makes me feel like I do? Obviously, there's a cleanse that happens at the beginning, but after you get that part of it over and you're just drinking it every day and you're past that initial initiation, if you will. What is it about this tea that makes me feel like I do? I mean, is it legal? What?
Well, there's 8 different herbs, and people hear the word tea and they think black tea, green tea, blah blah blah. It's not a caffeinated tea. There's no caffeine in this tea, and you got to realize that when these 8 herbs come together, and herbs, okay, just so you know, if you go into the Bible, into Genesis, herbs were created before man. So hello. That'll tell you something right there. So these 8 herbs, they blend together, and what they do is they keep your colon clean, so that because all of your organs are drawing off everything that's going down through your colon. So if it's clean, then you're going to get good stuff to all of your organs, and your organs are going to feel better. Your organs feel better, you feel better. So it's really important. People say, how long should I drink the tea? Just a month, just a couple months. 9 years for me.
Right.
9 years for me. And I say I really believe. And first of all, when you have GMOs, and we're having Monsanto fights all the time to say, okay, we don't want to tell anybody it's a genetically modified organism. We don't want to put that on a package label. We don't want it. It's not fair to us. What? It's not fair to you? Are you kidding me? So you want to jack us all up, but it's not fair to you. Okay, because to me, it's like just put a label on there. You don't have to kick them out of business. Just put a label on there and let the people speak. So when you have all this stuff going in you, don't you need something good and natural to help take it out? And that's where the tea comes in. And that's why people go, man, I'm getting energy. I feel better. And there's all kinds of testimonies of what it does. So it's a beautiful thing.
How do you control the ingredients, and how do you verify that these are non-GMO ingredients and also organic?
Well, they are non-GMO and they're organic. There's really no way. I mean, how do I say this? It is not a certified product, and there's a reason for that. A lot of times when there's certifications and all that, it's just all, again, part of they and them. It's really kind of ugly. So we just say it's verified. It's verified GMO. It's verified that it is organic. I noticed Costco sold some corn chips, and God bless them, and they said organic corn chips. But there was no GMO label on there whatsoever, no verified, no nothing, which means that that corn chip that is organic, yes, it's organic, but it still can be GMO. So we just have verified, which is it's not part of the system, and yet you're still getting the goods.
I enjoy the taste of it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is when I'm done drinking a glass, I feel, what's the word I want to use? I almost want to say I'm high in that something happens with your brain where you feel clear. How is that? I mean, how is that possible? Because I've never had that before with anything that I've ever taken in my life, where you just drink and you look at whoever you're drinking it with and you go, hey man, do you feel that? It's like you're back in high school.
I think the simple analogy would be this. Everything out there right now, and I almost really would go with the word everything, is like an intruder. Like cancer is an intruder, okay? It's an attacker on your body. So with things that we're eating, because we're not eating normal food, Doritos, if we eat Doritos, not to pick on Frito-Lay, but if you eat Doritos, your stomach does not even recognize that as a food. So your body is saying, hey, when do I get some food? Do I get any raw vegetables? Do I get any meat? Do I get, and everybody has a different diet, so I don't want to step on people that are vegan or whatever, because, everybody has a certain diet, and that's good for them. But my point is that if somebody's eating just the regular, normal 1, 2, 3, they go down the frozen food aisle, they grab a couple things, I'll nuke this later, you are being invaded by things that are not food products, and your body is suffering. So what the Life Change Tea does is help take that out of your body and give you a better view on life, you might say. It's not a cure-all. It's not at all. But it will help you. I mean, we are being overloaded, and we need help. And this is a great way. When you exercise, huge help. See, the biggest key people don't realize is God made our body to heal itself. Okay? Doctors are great. They're wonderful. But you know what? The body knows how to heal itself. If you get a cut on your hand and you don't get stitches and you just hold that together and patch it together, guess what? The body will heal. So the stitches are just to help it, just to keep it closed, keep it clean, so on and so forth. So the body knows how to heal itself. So when it has some help from a natural source, like an herb, okay, like a supplement, which are herbs, then the body heals itself quicker. Because that's, again, something that God put on this earth for us, just like He put on food, just like He put water. These are all for us to live and live well. The problem is they and them are intruding, and this is why cancer rates going up, diabetes rates going up, high blood pressure, cholesterol, so on and so forth.
Now, I'm going to shift gears. I want to have some fun really quick. And everybody, just go to getthetea.com, and you can go onto the specials page. Everything is there. And like I said, what I do every day, I'm going to go back. Let me go back to the specials page, and I'll tell everybody what I do. The Colostrum Supreme, that deal right there, that's what I do every day. The Colostrum, the Moringa, and the Life Change Tea. And, that's what I have found, that works for me, for what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to be going on the road in 2 weeks. And what would you recommend if I can't take the tea with me, right? What do I take on the road, Ronnie?
The big D365, D365, Detox 365. And basically what that is like it's tea in a pill, except it actually has some acidophilus in it, which is really nice. It's also really good for women, so women's stuff, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
So D365 is great, 1 pill a day, rock and roll, you're ready to go. And you don't have to brew the tea. And a lot of people that are really super busy and they can't brew the tea, some people really love it because it goes in your bloodstream immediately, blah, blah, blah.
And it tastes good. It tastes good.
And it tastes good. Yeah, it really is. But some people don't have time. Their schedules are wound too tight. They don't have time to even post a Pop-Tart. So in those kind of people, D365 is a beautiful thing. They take a pill, life's good, it's still cleansing their body, and they're getting the same effect. So it's a great thing.
Okay, so D365 when I head on the road. Okay, all right, that helps. Now, I want to change gears a little bit, Ronnie. I want everybody to see how cool you really are. The flat Earth, Ronnie. What is going on?
The flat Earth?
The flat Earth theory that the Earth is flat.
I was looking at that the other day, and I don't know which way I sway. I don't know which way you sway, but
we are definitely round. Oh, I don't sway.
I'm thinking we're round, but there's a flat Earth. I don't know. I don't know. How about now? Let me ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what do you think of the term watchers?
Ooh, in what context? In a religious context or?
No, boot religion out.
Okay.
What do you think of the word watchers?
Wow.
What is the definition in the Jimmy book?
Well, okay.
Yeah, baby, go.
This is I say the answer, the easy answer. I mean the broad answer. Then we can go deep. The answer is yes. Okay, that's where I'm coming from, and the reason why I say that that is a broad stroke of the pen. Okay, the answer is yes, because when you go further on that definition, who, what, where, when, and why, now it gets a little bit more complex, and the watchers could be more than one specific thing. Okay?
Yes.
But the answer is yes. Now, good watchers, bad watchers, we start to unravel this a little bit. What I honestly feel, and this is a little bit more direct, is that I think that there is a line in the dimension around us that we are very close to at any moment we could penetrate if we only knew how. In other words, you're standing right now, you're on the phone with me, right? I'm sitting in a chair in a studio. I'm saying that it could be as simple as there could be a chair to my left, and I could sit in it, and move into another world that would be like black and white. And then I could look back into this world that is in color and observe and see what's going on. And I think that is going on right now. We just, that type of dimension we don't know about. And the best way to give you that view is seriously, and we're going to be up against a break. So check this out. Is a fish bowl, a fish in a fish bowl. That fish in that fish bowl only knows his world. He doesn't know, he doesn't have any idea about the 405 freeway, airplanes, airports, space travel. He knows nothing. He's only in that fishbowl. And him jumping out of that fishbowl doesn't expose him to anything. He doesn't understand. He's in that world, right? And we're not even sure that he can see out of that fishbowl and see us. And if he does, what is he really seeing? Right? That is us in our world right now. We have no idea on what is on the other side of that glass. We don't have a clue. We don't. And
how can we say that we have the authority?
Well, but see, that's the thing. We every single day, somebody sees something that slips in, whether it's an accident or whether it's intentional, but you'll see a blip of something off in the corner of your eye, and you'll look and it's not there. What is that? Is that something that came in from that other side of the glass and just popped in and then corrected itself and popped back out? I'm saying that there is probably multiple life forms like us and otherwise out there that are observing us right now with intention, just like the zoo, and we just don't know how to access it. Let's take a break right there. This is Fade to Black, talking with Ronnie McMullen, and I'm sorry I ignored all those phone calls, but Ronnie is smart, and I'm always going to listen to Ronnie. I'm going to open up the phone lines when we come back. 323-825-5045. Ronnie McMullen is with us. This is Fade to Black. We're talking about Stephen Greer. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter. But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Angioprim can clean blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is liquid oral chelation. It's not new science. 50 years of research has gone into chelation, and now there's Angioprim. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. The first thing Angioprim users say is they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on now at angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better and doing more. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant or go to angioprim.com for help. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's Angioprim at 877-882-7221. Get the facts about Angioprim. Begin living the life you want, doing the things you used to do again with Angioprim.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you to Dr. Stephen Greer. Great conversation. Smart guy. Talking with Ronnie McMullen from GetTheTea.com, Life Change Tea. Ronnie, this just popped up in Twitter. What does Ronnie say about reptilians? And then we'll get back to the Watchers.
Okay. What do I say about reptilians? I believe they're very real, and I think they. I've never seen one. I've never hooked up with one, but they're very smart, and they're like workers. So how they play in the spiritual field, I'm not sure, because there are writings outside of the scriptures that talk about reptilians. But how true those writings might be, I'm not sure.
You said to me once, Ronnie, everybody used to. He's a retired radio guy, and you said one thing you said to me once, Ronnie, that really stuck with me. You and I talked about this one day for a couple hours. Was that you started to trip out on ufology, in that you started to really get contacted with by just some strange circumstances started to happen in your life and around your life, and I want you to share with everybody what you meant by that, and that you felt like you were getting too close to some really bad or strange individuals. So explain to me and the audience what you meant by saying that.
Well, I'm a truth seeker, and, first thing you have to do is, if you're going to be a truth seeker doesn't care how the truth comes to him. In other words, if we have a guy in a tie and he tells us the truth, okay, he's in a tie and he's a suit, so that's a good idea. But if it's some kind of bum on the corner, oh, well, he doesn't know anything, he's stupid, he's a bum, he doesn't have any money, blah, blah, blah. So point being is when you become a truth seeker, a true truth seeker, you have to realize how it's packaged, okay? Because truth doesn't always come in the package that we think it's going to come in. So we'll start with that. So I was always a truth seeker, and when I obviously UFOs, and I was in ministry at one point, very hardcore, and so I heard a guy talking about UFOs, and that got me on the UFO realm. The next thing you know, I started talking about it through ministry, and the next thing past that, I ended up with my own UFO show, and interviewing different people just like you do, Jimmy. But it's not the interviews that got me. It's when the phone dropped and you would have outside phone calls from different people. I'll never forget one of the ones that really rocked me is a guy that used to put on, what do I want to say, different people speaking, what have you. And he told me one time, he says, do you know so-and-so? And I said, yeah, I've heard about him, And I said, what do you say? And he says, well, I'll just tell you this. He says, I believe he's the real deal, and he's been places that none of us have been. And he went into more great detail. And so he ended up getting out of it. And I said, why did you get out of it? You were promoting these great speakers and huge conferences, the UFO conferences that were just, overwhelming. Why did you get out of it? And he told me this. He said, you know what, Ronnie? You're going to realize, he says, I can tell you're a truth seeker. There is no bottom when it comes to UFOs and ufology. There is no bottom. And I thought, what? And he says, so I'm glad you're taking over kind of where I stood. You go for it. You have a great time, he says, but my nerves and my body can't take it. And quite honestly, I did it for years, and it just wore on me because, some of the people, I could tell if they were just more of just wanting to have, fun and talk and see if they can get the people and the listener going, ooh, ah, ooh, But there would be people that would come on and they would shock me with things they said, especially when it comes to abductees. And then when you started dealing with people with MK Ultra and you started dealing with people, super warriors, and, it went to so many levels and talking to different, military personnel in high ranks. And I just, it was a wild, and then when you go into Hollywood and you touch the Hollywood CIA base, they follow you. And that was it for me. It was like, you know what? I don't need to spread rumors that, 5 black Suburbans followed me and they had machine guns. And I hear these guys talk, and I can tell you they're lying through their teeth. But when you do have people show up and they're recording you and they're watching you, that just gave me the willies. I thought, you know what? Yeah, I like my family. I think I'm going to go that route. So, yeah, it gets kind of crazy when you truly go, and especially when you figure out the shift with religion and the shift in the connection with politics and the shift in connection with the government and everything else, and you kind of go, whoa, this is deep.
Well, what did you find out? What did you find out? So let's start with religion. Something happened.
Yeah, it did. Again, I was a truth seeker, and when I used to preach, I would preach a God that people understood. I didn't preach the God that you hear in the pulpit every day, and it made me unique because to me, I believed in that God. That God's been with me my whole life, and that's what I wanted to introduce to people, not this angry God of the Old Testament or this newfound God of the New Testament. I wanted to introduce people the real God, the one that moves things, so on and so forth. So it made me very unique, but when I'll never forget, I interviewed a certain person, and I was all, praise Jesus, hallelujah, I mean, I was pretty zealous. And he got done with the interview, and he said, Ronnie, he says, I really admire you. You really like the truth, and so on and so forth. He says, but I'm going to tell you something. You're probably going to hate me for it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. He says, the religion that you're in is false, and you're going to find out who really wrote the Bible. And I remember I was like, I was like, how dare he say that? But I found out some things later and, changed my life.
Oh, well, you can't say that. What was it that you found out?
That the writings were not correct, and that is what I base the premise of a lot of my beliefs. And so when they're not correct now, and again, there's, I don't know your listeners, and I don't know how much religious background. Almost everybody has a religious background of some kind.
Right.
And I don't want to step on toes, but a lot of the writings in the New Testament are completely false. And that changes everything. And so when I went after, we talked about Christ, and Christ is real. So I don't want to step toes there, but Christ is real, and that whole thing is real. But how it went down, what went down, everything is not real. And I think when I was introduced to Bart Ehrman's books, it was a very interesting thing, too, because he studied, he was as they would call it, a holy roller, and he studied the Greek. So when he went in and broke the Greek down and learned the language backwards and forwards and found out that a lot of the scribes wrote what they want, and it killed him. In fact, he walked away from religion and from even believing in God, I think, at the point. So I feel bad for him. I have not walked away from God in any way, shape, or form. It actually has made me stronger, but I have a whole different sense of what's going on. And that's why when I listen to the ufologists, and I remember I interviewed a certain person that's very, very famous, and I talked to him. I said, what's your background, your spiritual background? And he cussed me out and said I had no right telling him that. And I thought, if you're going to be a ufologist and you're going to really go deep, you better have some spiritual background to you, because if you don't, they're going to eat you alive.
Right.
And so it was really, and I'm not saying you have to tote, some kind of certain religion, but you better have something spiritual, because we are in a spiritual world, and we need to understand that it's just like you said, the fish in the fishbowl. That was very well said. I mean, we think there's still people out there that think that this is it. And quite honestly, we're living in an illusion. And somebody's just playing with, and this is the same thing. We're living in an oversized Universal Studios. That's really what we're at.
Sure.
And
there's no question about that.
That's what the watchers are about. The watchers are watching us, and they're studying us. And it gets wild from there, doesn't it, Jimmy?
It does. It really does. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Jimmy. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Who's calling?
This is Captain.
Hey, Captain. How are you tonight? Say hi to Ronnie.
I'm doing fine. Hey, Ronnie. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Okay, Ronnie, you are 100% correct about the Bible. I'm going to say this. There's a lot to be said about the truth and what is about to happen on this planet when the people find out there's a lot of falsehood in the Bible itself. And it talks about who Sananda or Joshua or Jesus, who he was, and they say that he wasn't married, and yet he was married, and yet he did have a family. And not only did he have a family, he had 6 kids. He had 4 boys and 2 girls. And the last known relative was in the south of France. So when that particular movie came out with Tom Hanks, the very first movie that Tom Hanks made, they pointed to the south of France, the last known remnant of relatives of Jesus Christ. But I just want to say this. The Book of Enoch is a book that they dare not talk about because in the Bruton vault or in the library underneath the Vatican, they know that these things are going to come forward. Look what happened in the painting of the Mona Lisa. In the background, you see what is called a flying saucer.
Yeah.
Well, this tells you a lot.
You're dead on because the Vatican holds the writings that we need. And here's the interesting thing about it. As I found out and studied later, the writings that they hold are the writings that the Father, and not Father as a God on a throne and what have you, but as an energy, power, whatever universal God, that those writings give mankind power. Now, if you take away the power, or the, how would we say, the map book of to the power, and you put it away, and you become the power, you become the control, look how much power the Catholic Church has, then it kind of tells you really what's going on. So again, this is something, and I will also say this, for those that seek the truth, you don't have to go to the vault. You will find a way to get the same information.
Absolutely, and the thing about it is, you know, these movies that are coming out. This movie is coming out with the not the X-Men, but my goodness, I forgot. Not the X-Men, but
okay,
other, it's called Rogue One.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yes, Rogue One. Yeah, Rogue One, and that's coming out. And the thing about it is, it's all pointing to exactly what you're saying. It is the power. Once people learn about how to go through the dimensions through meditation, each one of us should be meditating every single day, because what that does is it puts us in a higher frame of mind. And when you have a higher frame of mind, guess what? You can go anywhere. You can move anything. You can move anything with your mind. And the thing about it is, people are not paying attention. We're in the fifth dimension right now, and we don't even recognize it.
Well, the people aren't paying attention, but on the same token, people are paying attention. There are shows out there like Jimmy Church that's doing this stuff, and I think people are starting to wake up. The sleeping giant's going to awaken, and when it does, and we go after the truth. The truth, I think the old book said the truth sets you free. What does that really mean? Well, it means when you go after the energy of truth, it will set you free from the control of they and them. So they think that by locking it in a vault underneath a religious guide that they're going to be okay. And to me, when you have a bunch of religious leaders picking and choosing what goes in a book for us to follow, something's very, very wrong. So for me, and many others like me, they go, hey, you know what? I want the truth no matter how it comes. It doesn't make any difference. And when you go after that, you find out, hey, the truth does come to you.
Thank you for the call, Captain.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much. And listen, one more question, and I'll take it off the air. What do you think about Bernie Sanders going to Rome to visit the Pope? I think that's very significant. What do you say about that? I'm going to hang up and take my answer off the air.
Thank you, Captain. Publicity. What do you think?
I was going to say the same thing to you, Jimmy.
Isn't he? Isn't he Jewish?
Yeah. Well, yes, exactly.
I mean, exactly. I don't know if that has anything really to do with it.
The whole Jewish and Catholicism, they're all connected anyway. So we'll leave it at that.
I guess so. Well, I wanted to.
Go ahead.
I wanted to address. Well, did you answer Captain's question? I don't want to.
Do I think it's significant? And I'll just say this: yes, it is. It's significant. We'll leave it at that.
Interesting. Well, we'll see how it plays out. But is this, when it comes to the Bible being accurate or not? This is what you remember the old game of telephone when you were a kid, right? Yeah. And you start off and you say the word ball, and then at the end, somebody is saying elephantitis, right? It's just like whatever, it gets, and that, right? None of it, any of it that is there, is so watered down. By the time here we are, 2,000 years later, where it's been translated and interpreted, and different versions, and New Living, King James, whatever. There's so many different versions of it now that there's no way that it can be anything close to what it could have been or should have been 2,000 years ago. And that's the way that I look at it. Now, is it a good novel? Oh, it's a great read. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Good evening, Jimmy. Good evening, sir, our noble guest. You're right about that, but we cannot prove your faith to me unless I know it. That's why faith doesn't belong really a whole lot on a program like this. But when you talk about Dr. Stephen Greer, and he's done so much for so long, I can't afford to go to his workshops, but we do have to agree that free energy, or, that's just the title of it. We know it's not totally free, but the cost and the ability to get so much energy out to so many people with hopefully so little infrastructure, which is what we're enslaved with now economically in most of the third world and the first world. If we could, have these energy forms that these craft apparently travel, light speed at, it would make it a little easier. I mean, my power bill at the end of the month was going to be a lot less, dynamically less than what I'm paying to a company now that has to maintain copper and fiber optic wires everywhere. And so I go back to what we at least believe that Nikola Tesla seemed to be trying to put out, and it supposedly had the technical knowledge for, which is broadcast energy for the good of the planet. And yeah, there'll still be economies and difficulties and wars, but not as much, because there at least would be an equal playing field with energy and how we get around and how we consume.
I agree with you. It's just, the key is we on this earth are still under a massive control of, I'll just say, they and them. And for them to release that energy, we've had this free energy for a very long time. And before Stephen Greer even got involved in this, we had free energy. So this has been going on a very long time. He's done a lot of organizing to bring it forward. But we just have to, try to do our best, because quite honestly, I personally, and it's just an opinion, don't think free energy is going to come forward because that word free. I think that the controllers are going to say that if they does come forward, they're going to find a way, and it won't be free anymore. So that's
what they said about Tesla, and that brings to mind the question that a lot of the Fadernauts have been asking tonight about this Mr. Keshe. Seems like a brilliant man, but he could also be a con man. Do you believe that this generator that he's been handing out the last few months is a form of energy that's next to free once you build it?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that come
generator, out. It's all over the internet.
Yeah,
right. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of scams that come out, and there's a lot of good things, and I think we just have to be diligent about what is real.
Let me. I'm going to be very clear. I don't want to mislead the audience or at all about Keshe. And his snake oil shenanigans BS, because that's what it is, 100%. I have sat through and paid my dues, sat through all of his presentations, all of his stuff, and none of it, absolutely 100% none of it made sense or was clarified. All of these, okay, for the last time, the real presentation, everything is going to be presented. And you go through and you listen to it, and he talks in circles, and it is absolute BS. And it frustrates me so much that when he says something as bold as, and his people say, that we're going to give these packages away, we're going to give them away for free, and we're going to do this, and then years go by. Okay, we're still manufacturing, we're still doing it. Years go by, nothing, because it's all BS, number one. Number two, when he finally supposedly did this presentation of giving away these packages, nothing happened. Nothing. Not one person, not one thing. If one of those generators worked, you would have somebody here in Los Angeles not only talking about it, showing it on the internet, and it would be all over the place. The man is not going to be able to shut everybody down, including myself. And that's the part that just frustrates me. Here is a guy, I don't care. He can sue me. He's full of doo-doo. And it's just wrong for him to do that. There's a reason why. Look, and I'm going to explain this very clear to the audience. With YouTube, with the internet, with free distribution of knowledge right now, right? if somebody has something, and Greer pointed this out, if somebody has something right now, you can show everybody. And he has the ability to do that. And the reason why he hasn't is because he can't, because what he has is fake and fraud. And all of his talk about this is BS. I cannot stress it enough. I am so sick of hearing his name. And for him to, say that he's got this technology and he's bringing it forward. It's been going on for years. Jump on the net. What he is saying today, he was saying 10 years ago. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And I've watched all of his presentations, him in front of the stupid whiteboard with a marker, explaining stuff, going in circles and never saying anything. It's the perfect snake oil salesman guy. All right, so that's it about Keshi. None of my guests on this show, including Ronnie, have an opinion about Keshi. I don't care, and that's it. Every time somebody posts something, am I being clear on this, Dino? Anytime anybody brings up Keshi in an email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, I don't respond to it, and I will not ask a guest that because it's embarrassing. It's fraud.
I agree with you, Jimmy. And this brings, talking about circles and loops, it brings back to then what motivates an individual like that who's obviously very bright. Is he a disinformation guy, or is he someone that
he's a con artist. He's not a disinformation guy. He's a friggin' con artist.
So strongly that he wants it to work?
No, he's a con artist. He doesn't want it to work. He wants money.
How does he make money out of it?
Donations, pre-orders. Go to his website. Man, it's embarrassing, and he snowed a lot of people, and the only way, see, this is the thing, and guys, we're at the end of the show. I've literally got 15 seconds. I can accuse anybody of anything. It's not defaming anybody if it's true, okay? So I'm telling you right now, he is a fraud. Keshi is a fraud. And he can't do anything about it to me because he can't prove that he isn't. That's it. And that's the end of the story. Until you can prove it, then that's it. So he is a fraud. That's the end of it. We're at the end of the show. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Dino. You guys behave, and I'll be in touch.
Next night, we'll do it again tomorrow.
I got to roll. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Dino. Thank you, guys. Brother. Yeah, good night. Good night. Good night. I gotta get out of here. See, that's what that whole Keshi thing is just. I've been watching this unfold over the years, and it just inflames me that he takes advantage of people that just want the truth. And it just inflames me. Guy's a fraud. Keshi, fraud. Don't buy into it. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Thank you to Dr. Stephen Greer. Thank you to Ronnie McMullen. GetTheT.com. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek.